Joining me today is Allison Gutterman, president of Gelmar. Gelmar is a household cleaning company with brands you know and love like CLR and Tarnex. It's been in Allison's family for 3 generations. Now she's recognized as its CEO and leader. Thank you so much for being here today, Allison.
Thank you for having me.
Coming all the way down from the Windy City.
Yes, to beautiful Northwest Arkansas.
Yes. So I love the story of how Gelmar got started. Your grandfather and his business partner had $2,000 in seed money and a handshake. When I talk to today's retail leaders and entrepreneurs of consumer product good companies, they often kind of get lost in the minutia of planning, stage 1, stage 2, so forth, so on, and never get to the execution phase. What advice could you give to someone who's struggling with taking that leap of faith?
Sometimes you got to just take a deep breath and say, I'm going to do it. You know, you don't necessarily learn about success until you fail. And just because you start a business doesn't mean that you're going to fail. When my father started, it wasn't as easy as it is today. There was no such thing as a viral campaign. There was no such thing as instantaneous recognition. It was so localized that he really had to build store by store, retailer by retailer. And today, if you have a great idea or product, it can bloom instantaneously. And we have to remember that almost all of the products that we touch, we wear, we see, they all started from an entrepreneur's idea somewhere in their head. So at some point, if you have that entrepreneurial spirit, you just have to kind of take the deep breath and say, I'm going to do it.
Right. I think for our friends watching at home, if you can, tweet it out, write it in your business journal. What Allison just said was so important. You don't know success until you fail. So don't be afraid to fail and try things and get to where you need to be.
Right, because in every failure, there's a lesson, and it will help you succeed the next time you try something. I mean, maybe your business didn't fail, maybe just that one aspect or the packaging or the name of the product wasn't right for what the consumer was looking for. So,
well, speaking of your grandfather, you're wearing a ring that he's passed down to you, or through your family has been passed down to you. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, you know, I wear it almost all the time. I don't wear a lot of jewelry as I have little kids, but this is one of the most important items of jewelry I have because it was his, and he started the company, and I received the ring from my parents for my 10th anniversary of working at the company. So it reminds me of all of my successes, and it reminds me not to be afraid to fail, and it reminds me to pound the pavement all the time. We used to talk about, we used to have an award for the Manny Gutterman Rep of the Year award, and it was a shoe that had a hole in it as a plaque, and it reminded our salespeople that you have to pound the pavement.
I love that.
And you have to make sure that you satisfy what your customers want, and you have to keep on going back and keep on going back, and eventually you'll succeed.
Yeah, I love that, Allison. Thank you so much for sharing that story about the ring too. Gelmar has been on the shelves of Walmart for 20 years.
Yes.
How was that relationship established?
Well, you know, sometimes randomness happens in your life, and it was a random act. My dad was at a convention, and an executive of Walmart was walking down the aisle with his wife, and she turned to him and said, I love this product, but I can't get it in your stores, and I really think that you should carry it. And a few weeks later, my father got a call from an executive at Walmart. The message had gotten down to the right person, and he was invited down, made a presentation, and we started to sell Walmart.
That's huge.
Yeah, it was, you know, but sometimes, as you know, we talked about before, entrepreneurs taking that leap of faith, sometimes the randomness of life also helps you succeed in business.
Right. No, I love that. I really do.
Yeah.
Our last question, and one of my favorites here at Retail Her, we have a beautiful photo of you as a preteen. Looking back now at that young girl, what 3 tips would you give her, 2 or 3 tips would you give her on how to navigate this life today?
Well, I would probably say that she should have more fun. I think that probably maybe growing up, did not have as much joyfulness and exuberance as I could have, but I would caution that and make sure that she knows not necessarily to put everything that she does on a social media site, because it doesn't go away. People think that it does, but it doesn't. And offhanded joking comments that you might make, and you type them up, people can't understand that, and it might just turn into a much bigger problem and a bullying situation than it would have when I was growing up.
Right.
When you could actually look at somebody and explain what you were talking about. And I would say, make sure that you find mentors in your life that are women or men that can help you navigate where you want to go.
Right.
And to ask questions. Ask your grandparents questions. Find out about their history. Find out about their struggles. Find out about what their wishes were in their lives. I think that in today's fast-paced society, we're really losing all of that history and all of those really important stories and lessons that they have. I know that I still use my father as a source of information and thoughtfulness when I need to, and his advice is still valuable today.
No, you talk about your father so lovingly on your blog, so I definitely know that's true. Thanks so much for being here, Allison. I really enjoyed getting to talk to you and get to know you a little bit better. Saturday Morning Meeting, we'll be right back.